Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into this article I found called Finding Your Spark, a guide to living a fulfilling life. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of this one, yeah.
Yeah, so what I thought was really cool about it was that it lays out these 5 specific rules. And get this, they're shared by someone described as incredibly inspiring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm not going to spoil who it is just yet.
Okay.
But trust me, their insights are really worth exploring.
I like that, build the suspense a little bit.
Yeah.
Make me want to learn more.
Exactly.
Who is this person?
Right.
Well, and what I think is so fascinating is that they don't just talk about these rules in some kind of abstract way.
Right.
The article brings them to life with
But-
all these real world stories and examples.
Yes.
Which I think you'll find really relatable.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So our mission today is to unpack these 5 rules together.
Okay.
See how they connect and maybe even spark some new ideas in your own life.
I like it.
All right.
So, hey,
Sounds good. Let's jump right in.
let's do it.
Rule number 1, go after the things you want. So the article really emphasizes the importance of taking initiative and not letting fear hold you back.
Yeah, it's sometimes you find yourself stuck in a rut, just going through the motions,
Right.
And this rule is this reminder that you have the power to break free
Yeah.
and actually pursue those things that light you up inside.
Yes, and it's not always about making these huge sweeping changes.
Right.
Sometimes it's just those small everyday choices that move you closer to what you truly desire.
Yeah, and the article illustrates this with a really fun anecdote
Oh, yeah.
about getting free bagels in Central Park.
Yes.
It's
I love this one.
so good.
So picture this. You're in Central Park.
Okay.
You're craving a bagel,
Always.
but there's this massive line.
Okay.
Most people would just sigh and resign themselves to the wait.
Yeah, I know I would.
Right, but this person.
This person was different.
Yes. They saw things differently, they thought, outside the box.
Yeah.
Came up with this creative approach and ended up getting their bagel without the wait.
Wow.
No. It's so good.
Okay.
Don't want to give away the whole story.
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant example of how sometimes you have to create your own opportunities.
It's about recognizing that you have agency.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
in situations that seem limited, you're not just a passive bystander.
Exactly.
You have the power to shape your own experiences.
So have you ever found yourself in a situation where the easy path didn't feel quite right?
Ooh.
Maybe it was a job that looked good on paper but didn't excite you, or a relationship that was comfortable but lacked that spark?
Yeah.
How did you navigate that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you stick with the easy path, or did you find a way to create a path that was more fulfilling?
It's a really interesting point you bring up.
Yeah.
And it ties in nicely with rule number 2. Take accountability for your actions.
Ooh.
This one's about owning both your successes and your mistakes.
This rule might sound a little heavy at first, but I think it's actually incredibly empowering.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about blaming yourself or dwelling on the past.
Right.
It's about understanding that you have the power to learn and grow from every experience, good or bad.
And the article uses this really powerful example from history.
Right.
Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes and his discovery about hand washing and infection.
Oh, wow, going way back.
I know, right?
Okay.
So back in the 1840s, doctors didn't wash their hands between patients.
It seems crazy now.
I know, right? That was the accepted practice at the time.
Yeah.
And Dr. Holmes noticed that doctors who delivered babies had these higher rates of infection among their patients. And, it took real courage to challenge the status quo,
Absolutely.
especially when faced with all this resistance from other doctors.
Yeah, they probably thought he was crazy.
Right. But he persisted, and his work ultimately revolutionized medical practice. And what's really striking to me is that he didn't just identify the problem, right? He took responsibility for finding a solution and advocating for change,
Wow.
even when it was difficult.
That's true accountability, isn't it?
Yes.
Not just admitting a mistake, but championing what you believe in even when it's hard.
Exactly.
Have you ever faced a similar situation where you had to speak up for something you knew was right, even if it meant going against the grain?
It's definitely a challenge,
Yeah,
but often a necessary one for growth.
absolutely. And speaking of supporting each other, that leads us perfectly into rule number 3.
Okay.
Take care of each other.
We often hear strength in numbers,
Yes.
But this rule goes beyond that.
Okay.
It emphasizes the importance of building a strong community, a tribe you can rely on and who can rely on you. And the article uses the example of Navy SEALs,
Oh, wow.
who rely heavily on their teammates for survival in these incredibly high-pressure situations.
Yeah, they know they can't do it alone. Their lives depend on each other.
Right.
Wow.
Now, most of us aren't facing life or death scenarios like that, but we all have our own challenges. Moments of doubt or times when we just need a helping hand. And having that strong support system makes all the difference.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected
Yes.
and that supporting each other is essential, not only for individual well-being,
Right.
but for collective success as well.
Absolutely. So, who are the people you can truly rely on?
Oh.
Who are the people who bring out the best in you? And how can you be that source of support for them?
Yeah,
I think it's something worth reflecting on,
for sure.
as we move into the next couple rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And it's amazing how just having that support system can really shift your perspective, and give you the strength to keep going, which actually reminds me of rule number 4.
All right.
Learn to be the last to speak.
Now, this one really struck me.
Yeah.
Think about how often we're in conversations, but we're not really listening. We're just waiting for our turn to talk.
Yeah.
Like formulating our response in our heads.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah,
Especially when you're passionate about a topic or, eager to share your own thoughts.
exactly. But the article highlights this incredible example of Nelson Mandela,
Oh, wow.
who was known for his practice of speaking last in meetings,
Really?
even as a revered leader.
Wow. Imagine the impact of that.
Right.
Like instead of dominating the conversation, he created space for others to share their perspectives, their insights, their experiences.
And by truly listening to those diverse viewpoints, he gained this deeper understanding of the issues at hand
Yeah.
and fostered a sense of inclusion and respect among those around him.
It's such a powerful reminder that sometimes the most valuable contributions
Yes.
come from those who speak the least.
Exactly.
And it's not just about being polite. It's about actively seeking out different perspectives, even those that might challenge your own.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Think about a recent conversation you had,
Okay.
maybe at work with a friend or even with a family member. Did you truly listen, or were you just waiting to speak? What new insights might you have gained if you had made a conscious effort to listen more intently?
It's a practice that takes effort, but the rewards can be immense.
Totally.
Speaking of rewards,
Yeah.
let's move on to the 5th and final rule. Remember your humility and gratitude.
This one really resonated with me. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life,
Right.
striving for success, chasing after the next big thing. But this rule reminds us to stay grounded, to appreciate the simple things,
Yeah.
and to acknowledge the contributions of others.
I like that.
And the article shares this really interesting anecdote about a former Undersecretary of Defense
Okay.
who made a point of reminding people that the perks of the job, the car, the fancy office, were tied to the role, not the person.
That's a good point.
It's a powerful reminder that true fulfillment doesn't come from external validation or material possessions.
Right.
It comes from recognizing that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves and appreciating the journey, not just the destination.
And gratitude plays a huge role in that.
Yes.
When you take the time to acknowledge what you're grateful for, it shifts your perspective and brings a sense of peace and contentment, even amidst challenges.
So as we wrap up our exploration of these 5 rules,
Okay.
what are you truly grateful for today? Maybe it's a supportive friend, a delicious meal, a beautiful sunset,
Yeah.
or simply the opportunity to learn and grow. Taking a moment to recognize and appreciate those things can make a world of difference. It's amazing how these 5 rules, while seemingly simple on the surface, really intertwine to create this blueprint for a more fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Like going after what you want, taking accountability, caring for others, listening deeply, and practicing humility and gratitude.
Yeah, it's quite the recipe.
It's a powerful combination.
And what's really striking to me is that these rules don't lead to like a final destination.
Right.
It's more like this continuous process of growth and discovery. Like maybe finding your spark isn't about reaching this specific point,
Yeah.
but about constantly like exploring, learning, and evolving.
I love that perspective. It's not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing journey.
Exactly.
And throughout our deep dive today, I kept thinking about, who shared these rules.
Oh, yeah.
I was ready for the big reveal.
I think so. Lay it on me.
The person behind these 5 rules is none other than Admiral William McRaven,
Oh, wow.
a retired Navy SEAL who oversaw the raid that captured Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I know.
Like his experience in the military, his leadership roles, and his commitment to service all speak to the depth and wisdom of these rules.
Yeah, it's incredible to think about the life experiences that shaped these insights.
Right.
And it makes me wonder how we can apply them to our own lives,
Yeah.
even if we're not facing the same kinds of challenges as a Navy SEAL.
Well, I think that's the beauty of these rules, is that they're universal principles that can be applied to any situation, big or small. So whether you're leading a team, starting a new project, navigating a difficult relationship,
Yeah.
or simply trying to find more joy and meaning in your everyday life,
Right.
these rules can offer like guidance and inspiration.
So before we finish our deep dive today, we have a challenge for you. Something to ponder as you go about your week.
I like it.
Choose one of these rules that particularly resonates with you and make a conscious effort to apply it in your life this week.
Okay.
Pay attention to how it impacts your interactions, your mindset, your overall sense of fulfillment. Maybe you decide to focus on taking initiative and pursuing something you've always wanted to do. Or perhaps you challenge yourself to listen more intently in conversations, really seeking to understand other perspectives.
Yeah.
Whatever rule you choose, we encourage you to embrace it fully and see where it leads you.
And we'd love to hear about your experiences. So share your thoughts, your insights, even any stumbling blocks you encounter.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
Let's keep those sparks flying.
Exactly. This is just the beginning of our exploration. Let's continue to spark inspiration in each other and discover the power of these rules in our own lives.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep those sparks flying.